Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video on the Retro Entertainment Archive. This is going to be yet another video for the month of October, as well as celebrating the upcoming day of Halloween. And all throughout the course of the month so far, and the videos that I've been producing and uploading to the channel, I've been talking about different classic horror films and television and whatnot. This time around I'll be featuring one of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's most famous, if not the most famous, literary work that he produced, and that is The Hound of the Baskervilles. And also I'll be talking about two of what I would consider to be my favorite adaptions from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's chilling Gothic novel. And that will be, of course, first The Hound of the Baskervilles from 1959 from Hammer Films Productions. And that would star Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes, Andre Morell as Dr. John Watson, and also Christopher Lee in the role of Sir Henry Baskerville. And also the second adaptation, this one for television, and this is the Granada Television adaptations of the Sherlock Holmes adventures, and that would star Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes, as well as Edward Hardwicke as Dr. Watson. So, with that in mind, please join me as we discuss The Hound of the Baskervilles, and especially those two adaptations. And I think you'll find this to be a fun and informative video. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Hey there, and off we go with another video, and of course we're going to be talking about The Hound of the Baskervilles. And of course it started off with one of the third, actually, of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's crime novels. And as per usual, I have notes right here, so please bear with me when I read some of this information. So we'll get that going right away. So, The Hound of the Baskervilles is the third of the four crime novels written by British writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, featuring the great detective Sherlock Holmes. Originally serialized in the Strand magazine from August of 1901 to April of 1902, it is set largely in Dartmoor, Devon, in England's West Country, and follows Holmes and Watson investigating the legend of a fearsome, diabolical hound of supernatural origin. This was the first appearance of Holmes since his apparent death in The Final Problem, and the success of The Hound of the Baskervilles led to the character's eventual revival. Now, Conan Doyle's ideas came from the legend of Squire Richard Cabell, or Cabell, sorry for the mispronunciation, of Brook Hall in the parish of Buckfastleigh, Devon, which was the fundamental inspiration for the Baskerville tale of a hellish hound and a cursed country squire. Cabell's tomb survives in the town of Buckfastleigh. So that's the literary origins, you could say, of the story of The Hound of the Baskervilles, which of course Conan Doyle was his most famous most famous story involving his detective Sherlock Holmes. And now, of course, I'm going to be talking about the Hammer Films production. Now, the film is a 1959 British Gothic mystery film directed by Terence Fisher and produced by Hammer Film Productions. Now, the film stars Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes, Christopher Lee as Sir Henry Baskerville, and Andre Morell as Dr. Watson. Now, this is the first film adaptation of the novel that was filmed in color. Now, there were other adaptations before. Most famously, there was the one, I think it was in 1939 or 1940. Excuse me just a moment here. I'm just going to, just want to be absolutely sure here that oh, sorry here, just bear with me for a moment. Boy, oh boy, am I, not exactly the most prepared. Okay. Yes, of course. That is the 1939 adaptation that was directed by Sidney Landfield and starred Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the roles of Holmes and Watson. And anyhow, the Hammer Films production, the filming took place on location at Chobham Common and Frensham Ponds, both in Surrey. The Hound of the Baskervilles was produced by Anthony Hines, with the screenplay written by Peter Bryan, and of course directed by Terence Fisher, with cinematography by Jack Asher. It was distributed by United Artists, and the film was released on March the 27th of 1959 in London. Now, of course, we'll have a little bit of a rundown on the cast itself. Now, of course, Peter Cushing as Holmes, Andre Morell as Dr. Watson, Christopher Lee as Sir Henry Baskerville, Marla Landy as Cecile Stapleton, David Oxley as Sir Hugo Baskerville, Francis de Wolfe as Dr. Richard Mortimer, Miles Malleson as Bishop Frankland, Ewan Solon as Stapleton, John Lemessier as Barrymore, Helen Goss as Mrs. Barrymore, Sam Kidd as Perkins, Michael Hawkins as Lord Capville, Judy Morians as the servant girl, Michael Mulcaster as Selden, and David Burks as another servant. Now, we'll also be talking about the Granada Television production, which happens to be my personal favorite amongst the adaptions for the Hound of the Baskervilles. Now, the Hound of the Baskervilles was episode 26, and it was also the second TV movie of the Granada series, and it, of course, featured Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes and Edward Hardwicke as Dr. Watson. Excuse me. And it aired on ITV on the 31st of August 1988. Now, just to give a brief overview here of the TV production. Now, while faithful to the original story, it is not, by Michael Cox's own statement, the adaptation of his dreams. As for Jeremy Brett himself, he regretted that the film had not been developed sufficiently to achieve the perfect accuracy required to adapt this famous masterpiece. The excessive expenses involved in the production of the episodes Silver Blaze and The Devil's Foot having dried up the series' budget, Michael Cox and June Wyndham Davies believed that this episode could provide 2 hours of entertainment at a lower cost than the last episodes initially planned. This austerity policy led to the suppression of captivating but costly sequences such as the one in which Holmes and Watson chase the spy following Sir Henry in London. Even worse, it led to the filming in the studio of scenes where the set is essential, and which require space, such as the final attack of the monster, thus depriving us of the spectacle of the immense moor gradually invaded by an evil fog, and especially of the exciting race of Holmes and Watson flying to Sir Henry's rescue. The financial shortage even forced Brian Mills to reuse shreds of previous episodes that turned the film into a disconcerting patchwork. Now, I personally, viewing the TV movie a number of times, I enjoy watching it. I'm a little biased, of course, because I enjoy Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. I'm a big fan of his work, and I even would say that I would say he's on the top of my list as the definitive Sherlock Holmes in media. Of course, that's my personal opinion on that, but everybody has their preferences, of course, though, for who they would see as their perfect Sherlock Holmes. But now for the filming locations for the TV movie. Like in most of the series, locations meant to portray the original story's Devon setting actually utilize the north of England for both exterior and interior filming, albeit on carefully chosen sites. Locations in Yorkshire, reminiscent of Dartmoor and the Devon countryside, were used for outdoor scenes. Like, for example, Brimham Rocks, Harrogate, North Yorkshire, that represents Dartmoor Plains and the moors in Devon. The North Yorkshire Moors Railway, 12th Park Street, Pickering, North Yorkshire, that represents the Great Western Railway in Devon, Gripen, I'll try that again. It represents the Great Western Railway in Devon, Gripen, the railway station. Also, as well, the Heath House, Hollington Road, Teen, Stoke-on-Trent, Staffordshire. That represents mainly the exterior of Baskerville Hall. And also Moberly Old Hall, Moberly, Knutsford, and Cheshire, representing mainly the interiors of Baskerville Hall. And also the producers of the TV movie, they're Michael Cox and June Wyndham Davies. The director was Brian Mills. The screenplay was by Trevor Bowen. The set decoration, James Weatherup and Chris Bradshaw. And the music was by Patrick Gowers. And of course, it stars Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes, Edward Hardwicke as John Watson, Raymond Adamson as Sir Charles Baskerville, Christopher Tabori as Sir Henry Baskerville. Sorry here, I don't know if I made a mistake here. Raymond Adamson as Sir Charles Baskerville. I'll try that again. Christopher Tabori as Sir Henry Baskerville. Alistair Duncan as Dr. Mortimer. Ronald Pickup as Mr. Barrymore. Rosemary McHale as Mrs. Barrymore. James Faulkner as Mr. Stapleton. Fiona Gillis as Beryl Stapleton. Bernard Horsfall as Franklin. Elizabeth Spender as Laura Lyons. Don McKillop as the Vicar of Gripen. Myrtle Devonish as the Gripen post office woman. And Selden is played by William Ikeley. And basically, that's the history, I suppose you could say, of the television production of The Hound of the Baskervilles. Now, also I will be providing links to the physical media, Blu-rays, and as well the DVDs of these of the film, and of course of the TV production. It's part of a set, especially with this here, as Jeremy Brett is Sherlock Holmes. I'm just going to, excuse me a moment here, I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't have any glare. No, yes, of course, no, this is the Blu-ray series where it features all of the television films of the series. And yeah, I definitely recommend this, and especially as well, I also have 3 others, of course, of the TV series. Just to show you that here. Okay, there we are. All right. I don't want to make any glare there. All right. And yeah, eventually I will be talking in a future episode about the Granada Television series featuring Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. And also, yeah, and so that is it for this particular video. Please share your thoughts and comments below about the Hound of the Baskervilles. What is your favorite adaptation of this famous story by Arthur Conan Doyle? Was it other TV adaptations or other films that you've seen over the years that you feel are your favorites? Please let me know in the comments below. I'd sure like to hear from you. And that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. So until the next video here in October, we'll be getting into more thrills and chills, though, before we finally lead into the big day, Halloween itself. So until the next video, please take care, and so long for now.